I have been meaning to make a video about, well, I've been meaning to make several videos about books since January, when I got the idea to do a series of shorts about different books that I've read that I found interesting, but that I haven't seen any videos online about, and that I haven't really heard people saying much about in general, because there's some of them that are quite good. And so, of course, this is not that, because things keep happening, and I haven't made any progress on that yet, so that's not what this is. What this is I bought lots of books, but most of the books I didn't actually buy for me. Some of these books I did, and some of these books I'm going to keep and read, but I'll explain it when it gets to it later. So here's a bit of a taster as for what sort of things that I like to read. These ones are all sci-fi books that I've flipped through a bit in the shop and thought that could be interesting, so I'm turning the comments on in this video so people will be able to say things. So for books that I've actually just bought, before I get into the bulk of the video, there's Brian Aldiss, Helliconia Summer, that's the second in a trilogy. Weird stuff going on an alien planet. Stephen Leigh, Speaking Stones, that's the second in a duology, and it is, by the looks of it, like, Speaking Stones might be a bit of a misleading thing, because the actual plot is involving some stuff to do with sex, both in both senses of the word. Bradbury, Fahrenheit 451. I've been meaning to get this and meaning to read this for ages, but to buy it new in Australia is like $23 or something, and it's a very small book. So I got that for $1, which is good. Robert Heinlein, Stranger in a Strange Land. I'm looking forward to reading that, but it doesn't have as much of his sense of humour in it, from what I can see, doing a flip through, and his sense of humour is horrendous, and I love it. So that's maybe disappointing, but still looks like an interesting read. And Gene Wolfe, Free Live Free? I don't know. But I've heard of Gene Wolfe, and this looked really interesting, so not bad. And now for the main bulk of the actual video. So the thing here is that I have been trying to get a tabletop role-playing game group together for some time. And I really enjoy sort of like the more actiony, what do you call it, actiony? Like the more typical, stereotypical fantasy adventure type of, maybe not exactly old school D&D, but stuff like, you know, you Cursed Tombs of the Mummy Kings or whatever. I don't think that's a real module. That's probably a real module. But what I've realised as I've been trying to organise that with people is that a lot of people I know, and a lot of people who are coming into the tabletop role-playing game hobby these days, aren't as aware of this genre of fantasy adventure books that used to be really popular and sort of inform people's games and the way they played them. And so I thought I would go around to a few different Lifelines and Vinnies and pick up some books for $1 and get a bit of a collection together so people can read these books and develop a bit of an appreciation for the genre and an understanding of the type and style of fantasy that I'm trying to run when I run these games. So that's what these are all for, but I bought, because they were $1 each, and that's an Australian dollar, I bought a lot of them, and I don't know what most or like maybe any of them are about, so I'm just going to go through them book by book, and then I'm going to look them up afterwards but if anyone has anything that they sort of spot and wants to like say something about a comment on, then that would be appreciated. Although I would also appreciate if no one gives heavies, if no one like gives spoilers, or if you do give spoilers, hide it in like the second paragraph of the comment or something, because I will read some of these myself. So what have we got? We've got Jack L. Chalker, Demons of the Dancing Gods. That's part of the series, but a lot of these books are parts of series, and that's okay. I grew up reading bargain bin books, and there were a lot of third volumes in the trilogy, and at the time I couldn't understand why that was, but looking back now, I mean, the bookshop's going to order in the same number for each, and then people might lose interest over time and not buy as many of the thirds, and then you get the thirds in the bargain bin. Elfwood by Rose Estes, or Estes. Don't know anything about that one. Fire Drake by Richard A. Knack. Now that, is this Dragonlance? Some of these are actually licensed ones. That's Questar. Doesn't look like it's Dragonlance. It's got Dragonlance written on the cover, but I think that was something else that he's written. Here we go, an actual Shadowrun book. Shadowrun Beyond the Pale, book 3 of the Dragonheart Saga. So if anyone's read the Dragonheart Saga, by Jack Coke. Knight Errant by Gary Gygax himself. I think this is a collection of short stories. And when people say that he was influenced by Jack Vance, I started reading this and he really was influenced by Jack Vance. It's pretty evident. And that's really cool. I'm probably going to keep this one, but that's more just that's more to do with the fact that I think it's cool than anything sort of objective or anything. Here we go. Jennifer Roberson, or Roberson, Swordborn. No idea what this one is, but it's longer and it looks like it's more of a nautical thing. And part of a series as well. Simon R. Green, Two Kings in Haven. This is looks like I don't know what this looks like, some sort of urban fantasy thing. Ooh, here we go. Here's more of Richard A. Knack, so I will put that back together. The Shrouded Realm, Origin of Dragon Realm. So that's interesting. Joanne Burton, Bertin, The Last Dragon Lord. And this, I'm not sure if that's standalone or not. But here we go. Angus Wells, The Wrath of Ashar, First Book of the Kingdoms. And no, that one's $2. Some of these are $2. But $2 is still not much. For reference, at the time of recording, a 600ml flavoured milk from the... Oh, here we go. 600ml flavoured milk from the grocery shop costs about $4.30. So these books are quite cheap. Here's some Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman. So this is Reign of Istar, Tales of Dragonlance 2, and then Tales of Dragonlance 1, Love and War, Volume 3 of Tales of Dragonlance? I don't know. I've never read any Dragonlance. Here's Volume 2 of Tales of Dragonlance, Kenda, Gully Dwarves and Gnomes, and then Cheryl J. Franklin, Firelord. If this seems like a very random assortment, that's because... If this seems like a random assortment, that's because it is a random assortment. I tried to pick up series if they had series, and some of the shops that I went back to, like the second time I went back, they had other books from the same series, which is good. Martin Middleton, Fortalice. I actually have reserved, like, I've bought 2 copies of this. The other copy was $1. because this is not just an Australian author, but a Queensland author, Martin Middleton Fortalice. So if anyone knows this book or that author, I'd love to hear about it. Unless it's something really bad and sad that's going to make me upset, and then I would not love to hear about it as much, but, you know. And then we've got an actual series here. The Avatar trilogy from Forgotten Realms, Richard Orlinson. We've got Shadowdale, and then Tantras, or Tantras? I mean, I know it's Tantras in Sanskrit, but I don't know if they've got Sanskrit in the Forgotten Realms. And then Waterdeep. And that's 3 books that are actually a trilogy. And I think there's another series here. No, there is not another series here. Cool. Oh no, here we go. And then there's Dragonlance Heroes. Someone had a lot of Dragonlance books. Volume 1, Legend of Humor, or Humor, don't know which one it is. And Volume 2, Stormblade. So, and those are published by Penguin. That's amazing. I didn't realise that. Penguin and TSR. Well, times have changed. Alright, and then more TSR Dungeons and Dragons licensed stuff is Mystara, Dark Knight of Karamikos. Anyone familiar with Mystara? The Dungeons and Dragons setting? Some of you probably are. Well, I say some of you. I don't know how many people are going to watch this video even. A Spelljammer book, Beyond the Moons, The Cloakmaster Cycle, Volume 1, David Cook. Dark Knight of Karamikos was Timothy Brown. And then all the Dragonlance ones, I think, are Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman. Yeah. Alright. So that's Spelljammer. Sorry. Chronicles of Hawkland. Call of the Sword by Roger Taylor. Again, never heard of it, but it's a shorter fantasy novel, so I picked it up to sort of share around a bit. Then we've got 2 by Stephen Brust, and I don't know if these are in a series, but they've got similar cover art. So we've got Dragon and got Jerrig, and those are 2 books from Stephen Brust, and then C.J. Cherry, classic author, Fortress of Eagles. And that, yeah. So that's my big bag of, like, adventure fantasy books. And there are some things in there that I'm probably more interested in reading for myself, and some things I might be less interested in reading, but I am very interested to hear if anyone has read any of those, and if anyone has any thoughts about any of them, or anything interesting to say. Because although I'm familiar with the genre from like running and playing tabletop role-playing games, I actually haven't done much reading in it. So, yeah, and that's that. That's 14 minutes of talking about books that I haven't read. Well done.